Hello and welcome to another episode of the DewatchPod Star Trek podcast. I am Jorgen Smorgasbord.
And I am Jim with a G, and we're in space.
We're in space, baby. We were weighing options for what to do next. And some of those options would have taken about twice as long to record, at least. So we didn't do that at this time when we both don't have that much time.
Yeah, we decided to take some cues from some of our favorite Black Mirror episodes, so from where to go here.
Yeah, we're doing Star Trek, but we're not doing it holistically. We're doing samples.
Yeah, we're doing statistics.
Yeah, and as everyone knows, the outliers in statistics have the most to say about the general population.
It's the strongest predictive power, and you should remove everything that are not outliers from your samples.
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're moving through to start with, we're moving through Strange New World seasons in reverse order, but we're only watching the highest rated episode on IMDb and the lowest rated episode on IMDb for each season. Which should leave us with a comfortable 6 episodes of Strange New Worlds to start with. The episode we have watched today is called The Selat That Ate Its Tail. It is the 6th episode. And Jim, would you just like to lodge a guess right now if you think it's the highest or lowest rated episode?
So one additional slight piece of introduction is that you watched a lot of Star Trek, and I have watched, I think, like 75% of 2 different Star Trek episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I am not immersed in the culture. I have a very hard time judging this. So I'm gonna, and we'll see how poorly this ages. I think this is going to be the highest rated episode of this season. And I'm not going to get a response this week. We're going to get a response next week.
That's right.
I think this is the highest rated episode because it features Kirk, which you mentioned is like, this doesn't happen. Like, he's not a main character of this show.
He's not a main cast.
Yeah. I've gotten a very short introduction to this show, broadly.
Yeah.
He interacts with Spock, and it's like, I don't know, I think there might be something there, and it seems competent enough, broadly.
Alright, so you're saying, like, yes, I see fan service. I think people like fan service.
Yes, but I don't like how you summarize that. Because now if I'm wrong, people are going to be like, no, we hated the casting of every character here, and it's completely off canon from established in this one side bit in Lower Decks. So I don't know, but that I thought about it a lot, and I was like, if I'm wrong about this, like, it doesn't matter which direction I'm wrong, I'm gonna look bad. So I just picked one, and I do think it's likely.
Yeah. Next up. Do we think our dear listeners should watch this episode?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Interesting. I'm, like, at best ambivalent.
Okay. This... We'll see how this goes over the course of us doing this DewatchPod. This strikes me, to me, as a very archetypical what I think Star Trek is. With perhaps a bit less, talking about social commentary or, like, interesting philosophical questions, but it seems to have a baseline idea of, like, exploring what leadership is and, like, how it affects the people who do so. And it has a lot of technobabble. It has, like, I've come up with a clever plan. I don't know. It's. I'm not gonna go to my grave shouting its praises, but, like, it seems fine. It seems solid to me.
All right. Before we go into the summary, if you want to watch the episode, here are your content warnings, because the episode contains violence, mass death,
and suffocation.
Yes. And I think that is all of it.
Yeah, it's pleasant in comparison to what we've.
It's a lot less work.
Yeah, it's sick.
I do just have this, like, instinct to go, like, ooh, we've missed something.
Yeah, but whatever. Like, I don't know. I think we got some extra leeway here. I think it's just Black Mirror has made us paranoid. But like,
Absolutely.
Do you want to talk for a moment about why you do not feel comfortable recommending this episode?
I just don't think it says that much.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's it.
That's fair. I agree. But I guess I'm coming into this with different... It's gonna sound mean. I'm coming into this with lowered expectations from our previous work. Not because I think Star Trek is bad, but because I don't know where to set my expectations yet.
Yeah, no, I think Star Trek is generally very hit and miss. So, that's going to remain hard.
That's extremely fair. Sick. I'm excited for that.
But yeah, to go over the episode in brief, we are getting the intro narration not by Captain Pike as is regular, but by Captain James Tiberius Kirk, because he is sort of the lead in this episode. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm so fucking bored. I wish something would happen. And then they're scanning a planet, and the planet explodes. And we cut away dramatically. And then we cut, like, pretty much back as the, Enterprise has arrived and is, like, zapping well, it's not asteroids, it's just the destroyed planet floating around them.
Yeah.
And they're zapping, and a big ship shows up, abducts the Enterprise, and Kirk is left in charge of the situation. And he's like, alright, I'm gonna have the gang pilot this near destroyed ship into the path of the ship eater.
Yes, the big scavenger ship.
Yeah, they've got a few names for it. This is one of those like very episodic moments when it's like, ah yes, this long established lore is now becoming relevant, and a bunch of characters say like, yes, this is familiar lore to me. Much like how taking a deep reference from my television watching history in How I Met Your Mother, they would introduce a new character trait for one of the people and then go like, yes, we're going to do a like extremely brief montage about how we've always done this.
So I've been recently watching this dropout show called Actually, and it's about nerd culture, and this struck me as very reminiscent of the moment this topic comes up, everyone has to add their own little bit to be like, no, I'm in the loop. I have also read the lore document about this thing. Here's what I would like to add to the conversation.
It's interesting because this is like a bit of an anti-lore moment. This is just like, yeah, we're pulling a new thing from nowhere, and it's going to be relevant to this episode and this episode alone.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, no, they confront the big ship, and they're like, we're going to mind game them by making ourselves look like a rich prize. And the ship like basically zaps itself by going after their detached loot boxes, nacelles, and in the breaking out, they manage to blow up this huge, historic, terrifying ship, and then they realize, oh no, that's an American flag. We've killed the remnants of the 2070 space program Escape from a Burning Earth.
Now, I think it's important to mention here that I called this.
You did call this like 10 seconds before the full reveal. And they really did like just like leave like about 20 seconds of going like, oh no, we're building up tension to the reveal. What could it be?
And I got in there and I proved that yet again I am a hyper genius, and I'm happy for people to call me that here in the comments if you'd like.
Yeah, no. Oh, this is a podcast suffused with media literacy. we see cues and we're like, oh, that's a cue.
I basically had a moment, right, like where And to be fair, all of my predictions about Star Trek are going to be really hard because, like, I just do not know the lore. But, like, they have this, that, like, the aliens are, well, who turn out to not be aliens, have these, like, giant, bulky suits, and you
Yeah.
never get to see, like, anything distinguishing apart from the fact that, like, they have 4 limbs, I guess, and are humanoid. And I go, like, oh, they're saying something about the life signs, and they're, like, starting to approach their, like, bulky astronaut helmets, and I'm going, like, it just would not make sense for the reveal to be anything else than that they're human.
Yeah.
Maybe
just like-
another.
No, just by method of exclusion, you're completely
Yeah.
correct. Like this episode is unusual in the sense that like most Star Trek is like, yeah, no, we're going to talk to some aliens and maybe things deteriorate. And like it's not a pacifist show or anything, but it is like a talk first, shoot later, like philosophy, like that it sort of proposes in its sort of utopianism. Because Star Trek, like very originally, of course, a like attempt to make a utopia, like capital U utopian TV show.
Yeah.
That is why there's a black woman and a white man kissing in it, and just like making waves in like 1970s or something, America, maybe 60s.
Yeah, and that shit wouldn't fly these days.
Grim.
No, I'm sorry.
Maybe accurate. Well,
You know, like, sorry, we're gonna go on this moment. You know, they cancelled an Assassin's Creed game set post Civil War because,
yeah.
yeah, you know that little story.
No, I know that story, and you know what? If you're Assassin's Creed and you look back at your history of like taking like a historical context and going like, anyway, these guys are part of our lore. Like, I'm not saying I approve of video games being politically timid, but I think I approve of the self-knowledge of Assassin's Creed to go like, we have a 1-year development cycle and we have never touched any politics like meaningfully, except for like going like, yes, Constantinople is pretty sick. Anyway, like it, and they just like completely get around this by going like, yeah, no, all the comms are jammed all of the time.
I didn't think about that in the, like, again, because I'm not really familiar yet with the established conventions of Star Trek. So the like the comms being jammed didn't immediately stick out to me as like, oh, this is like a plot tool.
Well, it is, but like it is like a very elegant plot tool in the sense that like, yeah, no, like the episode reads as like a monster movie.
Yeah,
in a
exactly.
sense, right? Like it's a monster of the week, and like it's faceless, which is very unusual for Star Trek. Like it shows up sometimes, but yeah, no, that is how we like get into the situation where the reveal has to be that they're humans for it to be meaningful. And we get a like pretty long denouement where they're like, yeah, no, 2070 we shot all the cool people into space because we thought Earth was fucked. And then they became like a demonic space legend.
I mean, like, I assume they're not gonna go there, but doesn't that sound like a fucking sick idea for a show?
Yeah, no, you might be interested in Farscape.
Okay, interesting.
Which is like a tiny bit like that, but only a tiny bit. They're not evil, but they are sort
But
of
they could be.
marooned.
I don't
They're
know,
not
like,
good either.
because like I think we've mentioned a little bit in the past that like between the two of us, Jorgen, you are a bit more into like older sci-fi, like
Yeah.
spiritually, like Star Trek still like carries at least some of that DNA, right?
No, I like made an effort like as a youth to like read quote unquote the canon, so I have
Yeah.
like read Foundation and stuff.
Yeah, I'm much more like my foundational sci-fi is Mass Effect, and obviously that carries a lot of Star Trek DNA if you look in certain
Certainly
areas.
does.
But like that's my sort of thing. Like I like Mass Effect. I like The Expanse. I like a lot of cyberpunk stuff. So like this one is kind of familiar to me in a way, like, because that's something that definitely shows up here and there, is the like idea of like a group of people, whether humans or not, that have kind of like been warped by their surroundings to the point that they essentially serve as sort of like a monster situation, right? You have it in, not humans, but you have it in Mass Effect 2 with like the collectors and stuff like that. So like this is a very familiar plot to me. And like I think that's kind of like an interesting thing. Like Mass Effect draws a lot from Star Trek, but also like modern Star Trek draws a fair amount from Mass Effect too, I think. I've seen that analysis been made before.
I'm
I
not deep enough in Mass Effect to make that connection.
Fair. But yeah, I think like I've heard that corroboration made at least. But like so this being my first Star Trek episode, I'm noting a distinct lack of alien space babes. So like, you know, they've got some ground to make up for me on that front, but like I'm sure we'll get there. But like genuinely, it's an interesting one because this like.
Does the immortal grandma not do it for you?
I am so confused by the immortal grandma.
Oh, she's the same species as Whoopi Goldberg in Next Generation.
I don't know who that is in the Next Generation.
Do you know Whoopi Goldberg, the actress?
Yeah, I think so.
House on the View?
Yeah.
That's Whoopi Goldberg, and she's in the Next Generation.
Okay.
As a wise, immortal bartender.
I see, okay. But, yeah, anyway, whole other thing. Well, like, this on some level, this, at the core, this feels like the kind of episode that you would be like, this is an somewhat shallow archetype of what a sci-fi show, or even like a sci-fi media is about, right? Like, it has Monster of the Week, it has a lot of technobabble, it has like, Captain... the ship isn't holding together. Like, this is the kind of stuff where I'm like, if I'm a bit tired, this is how I would run a Star Swat number game once a week, where I'm just like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Okay, some aliens show up, they shoot at you, you're disabled, you get tractor beamed into their cargo hold, make up some shit.
Yeah. No, like, that's sort of where I'm at, where, like, I don't think I didn't want to recommend this episode. Because, if you look at the, like, big twist of this episode, and you go, like, yeah, it's about how, like, we're not, like, past greed yet, right? The ship is, like, undone by its greed. That's their scheme. Like, that's not trenchant analysis.
Well, don't you think the more important part of the twist is the idea of, like, empathy for your enemies? Because that's what they actually talk about. Like, the greed is there as, like, it's, to me, that's the same thing as the monster has a weak underbelly that we can shoot at, right? Like, it's pure, like, here's the weakness for how we get back on
I
track.
think it's mostly winking at the camera for a rewatch, yeah. But, like, what do you take from the, like, empathy for your enemy?
Well, because I think about this a lot in sci-fi, about, like, or, like, fantasy too as well. It's like, okay, at some point, we have made a show. We have cool lasers, or phasers. Or, look, no, I shouldn't get into the tech. People will get mad at me. But, you know, point is, like, we have swords or, like, cool, like, weapons and stuff like that. And we want a group of people that we can make in this literary canon that we can just use these on. That we can just have, like, hey, here's uncomplicated warfare that we can do. Here's action. And you can do that to an extent with, like, pretty much anything, but, like, it tends to hit a bit better when you have humanoid enemies, at the very least. Like, this in itself is actually something that comes up in Mass Effect 2 as well. Specifically, like, because one of the very easy ways to solve this conundrum, where we don't want necessarily to think too much about who we're gunning down, is robots, right? You make evil robots that have gone haywire or whatever, but they're not fully sentient.
Yeah.
And Mass Effect does that, and then goes, actually, they kind of are, but in a weird way. And that's kind of the plot of this episode too, right? Is that, like, no, like, there's something there. Like, you can't just fully go into, like, to be clear, I don't think they do anything wrong. Like, this is self-defense through and through. But I think there's still something to be said for that, like, I don't know, like, keep some amount of humanity while you're being self-defending, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think, I'm not saying it's the most trenchant observation anyone's ever made in the realm of sci-fi. That goes to David Cage with Detroit Become Human. I will keep doing this.
We need to stop talking about video games. This cannot become a video game podcast. They're too long. If we're not doing like 2.5 hour movies, video games are so far beyond the pale.
Mostly, I just wanna reference Detroit Become Human.
Oh yes.
I'm gonna see if I can get it into every episode of this show. Yeah.
Bold.
But yeah, no, like, what was I? But no, like, I guess that's the point, right? So, like, kind of talk about the fact that, like, yeah, like, something can be self-defense and it can still be tragic. Like, I'm sure if this show is interested in delving deeper, which I don't think it necessarily is, we can talk about, like, hey, how, like, in a world, where you have this degree of, like, post-scarcity, how do these scavengers end up just, like, being like that?
Well, they didn't figure out post-scarcity, I think.
Well, no, but that post-scarcity society exists. Like, at some point, why couldn't they assume, like, oh yeah, that's a human ship, let's see if we can just be part of them?
Well, I think that's sort of the weakness of this episode, isn't it? Like, this is just, like, weak in, like, a bad Black Mirror episode sense, right? It is like, oh yeah, no, we're going to put the content at the end. And then, like, the, like, thematically, like, meaningful stuff at the end, and then go, like, look at the camera and go, like, hey.
In a steel manning sense, I actually do want to disagree. Because I think there's something to the point of, like, the middle of this episode being, like, very much pulling you into, like, these are the monsters of the week. These are orcs. These are zombies. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and then, like, putting you in that headspace and then pulling the rug afterwards. Like, it's... Like, there's a lot of media that does this where it's like, oh, yeah, like, the music's on high, it's triumphant, everyone's shooting cool lasers, and then, like, something snaps you out of it. You can interpret it that way. You don't have to.
I think that's the intention. Like, it didn't work for me. But, like, I guess, like, regarding it on those terms, like, it's an interesting one because, like, that's not a sci-fi message at all, right? Like, that's not...
No, not necessarily.
It's not about technology. It's about being a person. Right?
I think you could make it about technology. Like, you know, I think if you put some work in, you can talk about the fact that, like, if this was two tribes with swords hashing it out on the plains of ancient Sumeria, at some point you have to look like the person you're trying to hack apart in the eyes and be like, oh yeah, like this is another guy trying to keep his goats from, dying due to the salt plains that we're both inhabiting. Whereas if you're fighting with guns, if you're fighting like in these like heavily armored suits that obscure your faces, like, I don't know, there's something to that. Again, I don't think this episode delves into that, and I don't think it really wants to that degree.
Yeah.
But like I think there's a degree to which like
there's like the intermediation like is just like a part of how this episode functions.
Yeah.
Like the intermediation of violence. And like it's never like pointed to, but like it is just like necessary. For sure.
I think like again, if I'm really, really steel manning this, the point where like the twist comes in two steps, right? Like it's the these life signs are human. And you see like them pulling up like the visor to see a dead human.
I was like, the first time I saw this, I was like, am I supposed to recognize this guy?
Yeah, I can see, like, there was something about it where I was like, I also kind of felt like, not should I recognize this guy, but like, am I supposed to take something more than just, this is a human? I didn't think so, but there was like a gnawing sensation of like, no, like you should notice like this thing about them or something.
It's a very hard thing to reveal a piece of information that is so basic.
Yeah, like that's a struggle. But yeah, like the second step is where they go, like, look at underneath all of this like extra scavenged tech they've put on top. There's like the fuselage of like an American flag branded like spaceship.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is NASA. This is
Yeah.
like the remnants of NASA mobilizing for one last hurrah.
So I think like that has something to it as well as like about like the peeling away of it all, just like aesthetically at least. But apart from that, yeah, like it's kind of interesting. Like that seems to be on some level like the emotional core of it. If because the other running theme we have of this episode is leadership to me, right? Like it's about Captain Kirk being like, I should just like be able to make gut calls all the time and just like do whatever I want, and then he gets very definitive proof of this is not a good idea. When people say, "Hey, the engines might blow," they might blow, and that's bad. Then you put yourself in a bad situation. I think that one, I actually thought that one was kind of cute because like if you're in a sci-fi media, an engineer goes, "She can't take anymore." Like that means no, she can, but like it's gonna be hot. Like it's gonna be close to the wire here, but like you'll make it. So actually, them popping, like it. I think you could have made that scene be too cinema cincy. But I don't think they go there. I think it's just like a fun little like, yeah, no, like so if you ask them to roll the dice, eventually it's gonna fall on the wrong side of that. But without being like insulting in a way, which you could definitely do.
Yeah, no, and like it does just make a point, which is like, yeah, no, being in charge, like responsibility is painful.
Yeah, and just like that firing from the hip feels sick when you hit the target, and when you miss and blast someone behind the target, you go, "Oh, I didn't like that feeling."
Ooh, that target was a very large domino, and it is crushing 7,000 people in its fall.
There you go. So I feel like if I'm gonna connect that, like right, like there's they talk a little bit about like listening to your subordinates, broadly, and like just like trying to get that connection in there, and that I guess is like kind of connected to the theme of like empathy, right? Like it's empathy for those you deem your enemy, but also like empathy for those who are to some degree like hierarchically your inferior.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think they make too much of that connection, but at least there is like a red thread there, is my thought.
I do think there is like an interesting thing where like I assume now I have seen much Star Trek. I have not seen the original series. And I think there is like some degree to which like Kirk is always right.
Yeah.
But like it is interesting to go like if you make decisions under pressure with like just the need to like do something and act on like incomplete and uncertain information with uncertain courses of action, like the right decision is still going to feel absolutely horrific sometimes.
Yeah.
And that is interesting, right? That is and they go like not only do you have to like live with that, you also have to just like still do it.
I think one of those things that I actually like, I don't know how you could really work this, and I'm not going to go into like full counterfactual mode here, but one of the scenes I found quite interesting is the point where like after Kirk's orders have like blown up the space engines, there's a point where like the rest of the crew is being like, okay, like we have two ideas for how to make the best out of this terrible situation, and neither of them is good, but they're what we have. And Kirk goes, "I'm rejecting both. What's your plan, Captain?" "I don't have one. I'm going to the bathroom."
I'm going to hide in the captain's quarters.
Yeah.
Not captain's ready room, I think it tends to be.
Yeah. Anyway. But like genuinely, I think that's I don't know, like I think a lot about those such of things where it's like, oh, there's always the perfect solution. And obviously in this one we found it eventually like the perfect solution still gets 7,000 people killed.
Who had it coming?
Who did kind of, but like we don't know. Like that's the thing. So like, how many of these people are decision makers in the scavenge fleet? Like, what's the hierarchy here? Like, we know 2 people who came on board and started shooting.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like it is just straightforwardly like this is self-defense.
Yeah, on their end for sure.
It is the correct call, but like even we don't know like. We're not given like the blank check to go like, well, this society was monstrous, but like
Yeah.
how like monstrous can like a society really be, right? You still need to like have the fabric of like human relation to like keep tie things together.
Yeah.
Um, so kind of fucked up.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think that's kind of the interesting part. Like, on some level, like, I think a lot of the time, making a decision is usually better than just being like, I don't like any decisions, I'm gonna check the fuck out. Like, you know, like, on some level, this is like a trolley problem thing where, like, I think if you choose to run over the five guys, you're kind of a dick instead of switching the track. Like, I don't know, man, I'm just saying, like, and this is kind of like in the moment. That's what Kirk is doing. Is like, oh, I don't like those options. No, and like I don't know. Like I find that kind of like an interesting, at least little exploration. Even if it then ends up into, I have found the perfect plan for a
Well,
bit at least.
he gets there by going like, all right, listen, team brainstorm, right?
Yeah,
It's not like I have an idea. It's like I'm staring at the chessboard. Didn't work. I'm just gonna like, we're going to have to improv until I like have the penny drop.
yeah. I think that like helps it a bit for me. I will say I liked the weird chessboard scene because where I thought that was going was that he had an epiphany while he was looking at it, and then he was like, "But it turns out the only winning move was knight to a f5." And then he just goes, "I still have no fucking idea," and I'm like, you know what? That's pretty cool, actually. Like when you have in any media officer in front of chessboard means he's about to like make the winning move, and for him to just be like staring at this fucking queen for the last 3 hours, and I don't know, man.
Mm. Yeah, that's good. Um, yeah, no, I think the leadership theme is like more interesting. I guess it probably does a bit more for you if you care about Captain Kirk astonishing amount, which some Star Trek viewers are going to. Um, like without the benefit of character hindsight, it is a bit less like, yeah, this is my boy.
Yeah, like it. I don't think Kirk did that much for me as a character in this episode, but like this is literally my first exposure to him outside of being like footnotes in fan fiction history videos on YouTube. Um, like most of what I got out of Kirk is like, man, he has an incredible ability to look smug but also like a bit bothered at all times.
Yeah, no, like once you pointed it out, um, like that is his default acting choice.
I
Yeah,
am very proud of the comment I made because I kept thinking about it. Where I specifically said, this actor is making it look like every single person Kirk talks to is one of his exes that ended ambiguously. And he just like, he's not like slightly uncomfortable, but like clearly very emotionally engaged.
he's doing eyebrow work.
The most important kind of acting, I think.
It, this as at this point as good as any point where Will flag one of my stranger gripes with Strange New Worlds, which is like that the casting is too hot.
You talked to me about this before.
So let me walk you, the dear listener, through this theory very briefly. If you have a bunch of like acting resumes before you, and you go like, all right, throw out everyone who is not like a 9 out of 10 on the like fucking model walkway. The odds that you are going to get the best actors in that bunch are very low, and they've definitely done the only cast like 9 out of 10 actors
I don't
thing.
know, maybe the 9 out of 10s were the best actors of the bunch.
That is so improbable that I'm willing to discount it.
You never know.
Like,
Also, I just want to say, if you have it in you, Strange Gripes about Strange New World is a great, like, subcategory part of an episode.
no, I should have come out with the main one for that. But yeah, no, just need to plant my flag here and say, like, these people are too hot. They cannot possibly have chosen the best actors available.
But simultaneously, with this casting, doesn't the like sex pollen plots of the original shows make a lot of sense?
Well, they don't have that really in this one.
Yet.
They have a bit of romantic tension in this scene, but you're not going to see it.
No, really? Aw.
Yeah, no.
Damn. What's the point of making a sci-fi show if you're not gonna have sexual tension between like the crew members of a ship who cannot escape that sexual tension at all? Like, come on, that's why you get into a spaceship.
It's actually like one of my like favorite parts of the season too, and you're just never gonna see it.
Darn.
But yeah, no. What else do we have?
I don't know. Like, I mean, one thing I think we're gonna have to face, and I was thinking about this before we started podcasting as well, is that like, and I might be wrong, but I suspect that like this show will be a bit less dense in terms of stuff to talk about than Black Mirror.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just a thing we have to accept to some extent. I'm sure there will be exceptions.
Yeah,
probably.
I think a show not throwing around references to current events like that's good writing is probably, something that is not as fertile soil, but that we can cope with.
It's like, it's so strange having, like, Black Mirror and so on, but also just like even a Robot Fucker trilogy like is quite dense because it wants to talk about stuff. But after 7 seasons of Black Mirror that is like constantly doing drive-bys on random social and technological advancements in the real world, like it's so strange watching a show that is like, yeah, like we're a sci-fi show and we have messages, but like, we're not just gonna be like, anyway, I have some things to say about the assassination of Shinzo Abe.
Yeah, no. Another gripe with this episode. It is just, like, a bit too quippy.
Is it? Okay, maybe my standards are extremely low, having experienced, like, a bit of Marvel here and there.
I mean, I also don't like Marvel for that.
No, for sure, but like, this did not ring out to me as too quippy.
Interesting.
There was like, okay, so I was laughing a little bit at the start of this episode because there were a couple of scenes where I'm like, this is how I would make a satire of Star Trek, having not seen it, where it's like, Captain something readout. He goes, no, turns to window, like, like that sort of stuff. But quippy is not how I would put it.
I guess indulgent is a better way to put it.
Maybe.
But yeah, no. I think that is also just being the Kirk episode. Like, this is the most Kirk episode that we've had in the entire series.
It's the most Kirk episode I've had.
Yeah, no, which will be a good sort of bracket if we do end up doing all of Star Trek.
I think I expressed in the past that I think the thing I would be most intrigued by is actually the original show, like if we get there. Because like, I understand the new generation is just broadly well regarded.
So there's the new generation and the current generation, and those are different.
Wait, I meant like TNG.
Yeah, no. They made like 3 shows then, and they started making shows semi-recently again.
Okay, but like Kirk is
current generation. Kirk is first generation.
Yes, okay, that's what I was going for.
There's basically 3 generations, and we're in the 3rd.
But isn't one of the shows called the next generation?
Yeah, that's the second one. The second generation.
Yeah. It's fucked up, man. But yeah, like, genuinely, that is, to me, from what I understand, very well regarded. I want to see what came before that. I want to see the messy, weird shit where it all originates.
Yeah, no, we may get there if we don't tire of Star Trek.
We shall see.
But yeah, leadership, huh? It's fucked up having to make decisions without having all the information.
I love having all the information.
Man, video games are so nice in that regard a lot of the time, aren't they?
I could honestly, like, if if Charlie Brooker, sorry, we're going to get back to our parasocial relationship. We'll make new parasocial relationships over the course of Star Trek. But, like, if Charlie Brooker was programmed slightly differently, I would love to see him tackle grand strategy gamers going, like, I don't understand why, like, people just lost to Genghis Khan all the time. I would have just, you know? I think that could be rich soil.
I think Charlie Brooker getting mad at nerds is a very dangerous territory.
But that's kind of USS Callister, though.
Exactly.
But yeah, like, yeah, let's just say that the messages this episode is never act without perfect information. Just keep gathering that information.
Yeah, no.
Like, you know when you're going on that date and you go like, oh, maybe this person won't like me. Stalk him. Figure that out beforehand, so you don't have to...
If you can't stalk him, probably a serial killer. Stay home. Never take risks.
Do you think we're a bad influence on listeners who have issues with anxiety?
No, I think making anxiety sound silly is very healthy.
That's actually quite fair. But yeah, no, I feel satisfied with our first foray into Star Trek.
All right. And with that, dear listeners, you might just have more reasonable length episodes to look forward to from here on out. But we make no promises.
Do we get a preview of what the next episode is going to be?
I haven't got the title lined up, but I'll tell you this. It's about a documentary.
Yo, that could go so bad or so good.
It's a documentary format TV show.
Okay. Interesting.
TV episode.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing the results of that.
All right. And with that, dear listeners, see you on the other side.
See you on the other side.